Have people got ahead of this? Have they changed their business models?
Yeah, Caroline, I think a lot of folks have. They've known this coming for a while. I think others, though, were pretty stuck in the business model they had built because they really built it around leveraging the de minimis loophole. So I see a lot of businesses who have been doing work to kind of prepare themselves for this, and I see others basically having to shut down their business model, frankly.
Why would you have to shut down a business line? What kind of products or what were they unable to achieve to make it profitable for them?
Yeah, I think it's mostly the smaller sellers. So a lot of smaller sellers had they basically have to figure out how to do the paperwork in order to do the customs clearance, and they're just not set up for that scale. As well as they were really competing on the premise that they were able to transact at a much lower price point than the rest of the digital shelf, and so that gave them a competitive advantage to have lower price. And now that they don't have that, they didn't have anything else that was differentiated enough in order to win. And so I think those are the ones who are really at risk here and struggling.
The ones that have made it work, how much have they nearshored, reshored, looked at other countries?
Yeah, you see a lot of that. A lot of our brands have been doing that as well. I'd say our business model, we do a little over $1 billion online, and most of our stuff is not de minimis, but the ones that we work with who do it, they've already been moving a lot of fulfillment onshore. We've been actually helping folks with that, as well as they've been moving to other countries. And I think really the news today shuts down the other country loophole. We already saw the impact of this from China back in May. And so I think the market already had a chance to see how that would play out. And now we're just kind of closing up the other port of entries and that really forcing that more domestically.
Okay, so have any decided to make domestically, build in America, or are they building in Mexico?
I think there's still a lot of nearshoring with Mexico. I think there's a lot of brands that I talk with that are looking at what they can do domestically, but the labor market is just so expensive that it can be really challenging to do it in a cost-efficient way. I see some brands that are being successful at it, but it's a challenge and it's a multi-year journey. This is not something that can happen overnight. So the real impact here is just raising prices, turning off certain products that are not yet ready. They don't have the sophistication to handle that compliance, to remit the duties, to even get the import bonds. A lot of sellers have never had to deal with that type of complexity. And so I think you see a mixed bag across the board.
So what kind of products, Josh?
Fast fashion is certainly one of the ones that are hit the most, but you see it across the spectrum. De minimis went from in 2018 just a few $1 billions to over 60, $70 billion in recent years, and you see it across the spectrum. A lot of hard goods sellers as well, but most of it comes from China. And the areas where you really see it as a consumer, you're going to see it on Temu, Shein, areas that were really focused on importing those products through the de minimis loophole. And taking advantage of that, as well as Etsy, kind of the custom, unique products that smaller, sellers and creators are selling overseas and then importing to the U.S. You'll also see those products impacted.
Longer term, do you think this will bolster your own infrastructure, e-commerce own infrastructure inside the United States, Josh?
Yeah, we've certainly benefited from it because, mostly because we were not leveraging the de minimis loophole, if you will. We're playing by the rules. And I think almost anybody who was playing by the rules will see the benefit here. They're going to have less folks undercutting them on price because they're not paying the same tariff or duties that we're paying. I also see in the fulfillment structure, we've already seen a lot of brands and companies have worked on building more onshore fulfillment capabilities and moving those products here. So actually, we're also going to benefit from having faster ship speeds because a lot of the de minimis loopholes were slower ship speeds coming over from China and other countries. And now we're going to really pre-position those goods and inventory domestically because there's no advantage to keeping them, in the country of origin, if you will.